Adding a new addition to the Wellness Journey podcast series, we present Loving the Natural You. As we travel through life, our mind, body, and spirit go through a multitude of changes. And without taking time to learn about these changes, you might feel lost, insecure, and unhappy. It's time to establish peace with those transitional periods we experience in midlife. It's time to focus on ways to honor your temple and locate your inner joy. Join me, Lynnis Mullins, on Wellness Journey podcast series as we talk with a new group of forward-thinking experts who can provide insight and help us develop another level of self-awareness through loving the natural you. Hi, and welcome to the Wellness Journey podcast series. I'm so glad that you've decided to set aside some time to talk with us about some of the things that you might want to be thinking about when it comes to thriving in midlife. As you know, this particular series is called Loving the Natural You. And it's all about learning to accept ourselves as we are right now in this moment in time, that we really are enough, but always with the idea that there are certain things that you can do to be even better. But to love yourself right now where you are and grow from there. You know, we're always constantly changing and evolving, and there's always something new that we can learn, and especially in midlife. But one of the things I always want to send to all of my wellness women, sisters out there, that, you know, strive for the incremental things that you can do and the changes in your life to help bring you to wellness. You don't have to make giant, big leaps. You can do one thing at a time. And also maybe explore some of those things that you've been putting off or that you haven't explored yet, maybe because of fear or just because you haven't had enough time. One of the great things about midlife, hopefully, if you're approaching the empty nester stage or maybe coming close to retirement or maybe just beginning to realize the importance of your own self-care, that you get a chance to really take some time to evaluate what it is you would like to do moving forward in terms of your overall wellness. Well, today I'm very excited because we get a chance to talk with a dentist who is a holistic dentist, Dr. Susan Stukes. And I hope I said your name correctly. Stukes, thank you. I knew it, Dr. Susan Stukes. And her resume is amazing. She has been in dental practice for many years, almost 30 years.
Yeah, unbelievably.
Wow, that's fantastic. And she says that her approach is a holistic approach. And how I found her was on LinkedIn. And I was fascinated by what her profile said in terms of approaching dental care holistically. And I don't know about you, but for me, it's always been my least favorite place to go. Sometimes we have a tendency to put it off, but she's going to be sharing with us why it's important that we not put it off, why it's important that we pay attention to that, because it really all roads lead from our mouth on down in terms of our overall wellness, believe it or not. So it's something that we don't want to ignore. But first, let me tell you just a little bit about Dr. Stukes. 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 She is in New Rochelle, New York. And the name of her business is Covenant House, Inc., and it is an established health and dental practice and one of the very first dental clinics in the area. She has established all kinds of protocols and policies to help facilitate the growth of the new center. But not only that, she has had a plethora of experience when it comes to working with healthcare professionals. She's also worked overseas in establishing healthcare organizations that support the idea of wellness overall. She is a graduate of Howard Dental School, and undergrad was in Ohio. And it's just wonderful to get a chance to talk with her about her approach to dental care. Thanks so much for joining us on the Wellness Journey. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to sharing with everyone.
Well, thank you. Tell me a little bit about how you came to the idea of approaching dental health holistically, and what does that mean?
Well, part of it was from my professional experiences and part was from personal experiences. So now one thing, Covenant House actually is, I run that program, but that's actually a community health center that provides dental care to underserved populations, which most of my profession, I have been reaching out and serving those most in need from here to Africa, the Caribbean. So I've always been engaged in raising up people as far as their health care. Because for me, I feel like the only way you can be the best that you can be is for you to feel well. You cannot be the best mother, the best sister, aunt, grandmother, any of those things. You can't pursue your dreams unless you are 100% mind, body. I like to say mind, body, spirit, and smile.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
yes. So that's, one of the just, I don't know, it's always been something in my DNA. I've always believed that. But professionally, what I started to see was the fragmentation within, not just in dentistry, but in healthcare in general. So we approached a person from, we call silos. So there, if you have a heart condition, you see the cardiologist. If you have a mouth condition, the cardiologist is almost afraid to look in your mouth. They're going to send you to the dentist. If so nothing is connected. And so you end up with a poor patient that is being bounced around. And many times, a lot of the things that have going on are connected. So say like diabetes, which may show up in the mouth before they are even diagnosed with diabetes. Right. So, there's a lot of, especially the chronic illnesses that have an inflammatory connection. They may have a lot of different symptoms that you're being sent here, I'm having trouble breathing, or I can't sleep, or I have no energy, and my gums are bleeding. Let's just say those are your symptoms. So you're sent around to all these different professionals, but really everything is all connected, everything that's going on with you. So I just started seeing, I didn't like the way that felt to have to send my patient off into like a black hole, even though, you're handing them off to another person through a referral, you're still handing them off. And they're still kind of in the dark, and they're not sure, and then the communication between who you referred them to and the referring professional, that's not really there. So everyone's in the dark. The patient's in the dark, and the professionals are really, they only have a snapshot of the picture. So that was
a concern about the continuity of care and practice.
Absolutely.
And in this day of specialization, there's pros and cons for that. Sometimes I appreciate the idea of the general practitioner that is at least schooled enough to be able to recognize certain kinds of things and then be able to refer on, instead of talking with only one person who only specializes in that one thing.
That's true.
And that's all they do.
Yes.
And then they don't have the training to take a look at the other things. And one of the things that I do know about dentistry in particular is how important the health of the mouth is when it comes to the overall body. But a lot of people don't know that. And I guess my question would be, what are some of the things that people in midlife, especially women, need to be looking out for? And why is that important?
Well, it's very, very important on a lot of different levels, but the mouth is like any other part of the body. Everything has to be in balance. So I say I practice 5-factor dentistry, which is, that means that as you would look at any other condition a person has, I'm going to look at their nutritional, I'm going to look at their environmental, I'm going to look at physical factors, I'm going to look at emotional factors, and if they share with me enough, I'm going to look at spiritual factors. Because the mouth and the teeth, especially the teeth, people feel teeth are not living. Your teeth are living. So in your mouth it's a microcosm of whatever goes on in the rest of your body. The bacteria that live in your mouth are there, settled in, and they're in balance. When they're not in balance is when you see inflammation, when you see infection, when you start losing the bone around your teeth. So the 5 factors is what keeps the whole body in balance, and that's what keeps your mouth in balance. If you're not eating right, if you're stressed, if you have, you're taking in a lot of toxins, if you have, stress is a big, huge one. There could be physical factors. So especially when we get to be 40 and over, the physical factors start to kick in. Certainly for a lot of us that lead lives that we have a lot of responsibilities, the stress level, cortisol that has been soaring for who knows how long, that starts to play in the mouth. Dry mouth, sleep issues, grinding, all this kind of thing. But then you have other things like that you don't think about, like thyroid, which a lot of women start to experience thyroid issues when they reach a certain age. And like any other part of your body, you need all aspects of your body working optimally to be healthy, and the same goes for your mouth. So a person could have thyroid issues, or either they're not diagnosed thyroid issues or they're not being managed properly. It's going to show up in the mouth. They're going to have infections. They're going to teeth to start getting loose. A lot of what we see usually shows up like that. It shows up as some type of inflammatory reaction. So as we get older, we really, really have to pay attention to taking care of ourselves, because if we're not taking care of ourselves holistically, that's what's going to show up in your mouth.
Well, you know, so many people, especially like when they get to be about 40 or 50, if they haven't taken care of themselves from a dental care perspective, they have a tendency to be embarrassed, don't want to go. There's always that fear factor, but sometimes I think sometimes the embarrassment piece is even greater than the fear factor. And it's so interesting because I've been told before, well, I'll give you a good example. I have one daughter. We had, you know, with the girls growing up, double coverage, you know. And when she got old enough to be able to drive herself to appointments and all that kind of stuff, she just wasn't going. Because she didn't want to. Well, fast forward, and then of course we would always reschedule and everything else. Well, fast forward, you know, she's 32 years old, and some of those things are coming back home to roost. And she now, you know, she's trying to take care of it now, but now she feels this sense of embarrassment that she didn't do it, and really struggles with putting it off. But I guess my question is it never too late? I mean, if some people might be my age and they're 60, say, oh, it's too late, I can't do it, I have too many missing teeth, it's not going to work, it's going to cost thousands of dollars. What would you say to someone like that?
Patients come in all the time and say that, especially the population that I serve. You know, they've had to put, well, most women, they put everyone first, you know, and, you know, they might be raising their grandchildren, they may have sick parents, you know, on and on and on. So they have neglected themselves. A pain might bring them in. And that's why dealing with the patient holistically, and I have to acknowledge and accept, okay, these are some of the reasons, these are some of the barriers. This is why this person is where they are right now. So I have to look at those things. That's why I come back to the physical and emotional, because that's how, if that person does manage to come in, I have to be the one to inspire them to keep coming.
Yes.
And so that has to be our connection with, I have to say, I understand, you know, and I do understand why it is that you're sitting here today and what's happened, and there's no judgment here, because everyone has their journey and their challenges, and there's no judgment. Once the person is in the chair and you could just see a sigh of relief, like, okay, it's okay.
Let's do this. Right. It's okay. Well, I think so much of that has to do with the practitioner. And I tell my audience all the time, when it comes to making a decision on, you know, the holistic doctor you're going to go to, the naturopath, the medical doctor, the dentist, you want to come prepared with questions. And if it's not feeling right for whatever reason, it doesn't mean you have to stick with that doctor. You can go other places. I think a lot of times we have this thing about not wanting to ask too many questions because they're the dentist or the doctor, and society is kind of elevated, you know,
yes,
where they know everything.
That's right.
I tell people all the time, there's a reason why they call it a medical practice, or a reason why they call it a dental practice, because there's some things that they may not always know, because everybody is different.
That's correct.
And I would imagine in your practice that you've, you know, in working with people, you've come across some things that you haven't, you know, known before. And I guess my question would be, what are some of the things that we as patients should be looking for in a holistic dentist? How can we evaluate that they're taking that approach to their dentistry?
Well, first, before I get into that, I like to just speak to the relationship between the dentist or any health practitioner and the patient. Okay. It is supposed to be a partnership. Okay, you do your part, and I'm supposed to do my part. Part of that, why you should look for someone that's going to educate you and empower you. Okay, no matter what the specialty is that you're seeking services from them for. Because at the end of the day, I mean, the goal is for that person to not really need you. You know, the goal is for them to be empowered to be able to manage their wellness, understand their body, so that in between checkups, which is a long time, I mean, in the dental field, well, I mean, a good patient might come once a year. That's a long time. That's a lot of things can go on in that time.
Yeah, yeah.
So the
Absolutely.
patient has to, here, like you're saying, I have to teach that patient what's normal for them, what to expect based on their history, things that they should know. Okay, this is a red flag. I need to come in before my checkup. So, I mean, and looking for a practitioner, you know, is seeing if they want to share. I mean, my assistants are rushing me along because I'll probably sit there with you. They're like, okay, Dr. Stukes, you know. So, you know, you have to look for someone, if that's what you want. Now, there's some people who want to be in the dark, but I really encourage people to learn as much as they can. And that's what you should be looking for, I feel. And then on the other hand, you should feel comfortable researching. I always give people information, and I always say, now this is a starting point for you to now also gather information. When you come back to me, we can go over what you found, and I can help you to dissect that information, and then I'm going to help you to manage your mouth.
I love that. Now, what kinds of things can we do proactively to take better care of our teeth, especially in midlife? Are there special foods that we can eat? Or I used to hear about, well, I still do hear about oil pulling with
Yes,
coconut oil and things like that.
absolutely.
What are some things that we can do to help
Okay.
facilitate good health?
Okay, so at the bottom line, going back to this healthy bacteria in your mouth, you want to keep that healthy.
In the spirit of strength and sisterhood, we present an inspiring piece of literature, Power Up Superwomen, Stories of Courage and Empowerment. Standing as a collaborative effort between authors from around the globe, this book seeks to drive passion, purpose, and power, featuring a lineup of groundbreaking women, and myself, Lynnis Woods. Power Up Superwomen, Stories of Courage and Empowerment speaks our narratives of overcoming illness, diversity, depression, climbing the corporate ladder, and much more. Rise with us as we celebrate women taking initiative and letting our voices be heard. Purchase Power Up Superwoman, Stories of Courage and Empowerment today on Bit.ly Power Up Superwoman. Remember, it's never too late to live a powerful, well, and inspired life now. Suffering from chronic pain, sleeplessness, or maybe unnecessary weight gain? CBD oil, which is derived from the hemp plant, could possibly help. Take a look at these array of products that really do address different needs of the mind, body, and spirit. CBD oil. Just go to myctfo.me/wellnesswoman for more information about this fantastic product.
So I do not encourage people to use standard mouthwash. There's a lot of people feel, first of all, there's studies that now are showing if you use too much mouthwash, it blocks certain enzymes that actually can set you up to be at risk for prediabetes. But secondly, what it does, a lot of the mouthwashes, it kills all of your bacteria off. Okay. So for a moment, whatever you might have going on might be flushed away with all the bacteria, but whatever your imbalance is, when the bacteria grows back, it's still going to grow back not in balance. So the thing is, whether it be your food, and back to 5 factors, whether it be your food, your emotions, you know, doing stress reduction, eating right, it's all to keep your good bacteria growing and crowding out the bad bacteria. That's how you're going to stay. That's how you're going to stay healthy. Okay. So the oil pulling is beautiful because that's exactly what it does. It does not flush out your good bacteria. It helps to fuel your good bacteria and therefore crowd out your bad bacteria.
Could you
So I
explain
always,
what oil pulling is and what kind of oil people should use?
yeah. So a lot of people use coconut oil, but you could use sesame oil. You can use any oil, but a lot of the studies are really around coconut oil. I've tried sesame oil. You do kind of have a sort of General Tso's chicken sort of aroma to it.
When you think, when I think of sesame oil, I'm thinking about, okay, where's the Chinese food? Or
Yes, exactly.
I want to eat some of that now. Yeah, right.
So you do kind of have that kind of going on, but really what it is so you want to leave it in your mouth for as long as you can. So I always instruct people, and you have to play with it. At first it's going to feel weird. You have to play with it. So you can start with maybe, let's say, a tablespoon or so, maybe a half a tablespoon. You're going to put that in your mouth. It comes in a jar. You get it in the supermarket, or you don't have to really worry so much about the type at first. Right. But in the supermarket, it comes in a jar. It's kind of solid, but it melts very quickly. So you kind of scoop a little. As soon as you put it in your mouth, it's going to start to dissolve, and it's going to mix with your saliva. Now, you're not going to gargle with it. You actually just push it through like that, pushing it all through your tissues. And what I tell people to do is maybe while you're ironing in the morning or getting lunch ready for the kids or something like that, you could do it. And this way you're a little distracted and you could hopefully keep it in your mouth a little longer.
Yeah, I do it while I'm taking my shower and getting dressed in the mornings.
Yeah. So yeah, right. So something like that where you're not sitting there focused on it.
Right, because then I take it out. Yeah,
right. So right. And then you spit it out and rinse.
Okay.
And you really will see a difference. You really, there's a lot of studies that show, reduction in inflammation, people that have chronic periodontal disease, which is another thing when you get to be 40 plus. They used to say two things: that you didn't have to worry so much about cavities, which is not true these days anymore.
I don't think that's true for me.
Right.
It wasn't true for me.
So they used to say, as you get older, you have more of a chance of periodontal disease, which is loss of bone around the teeth. But with the medications a lot of us take for sleep, blood pressure, whatever, a lot of us start to experience dry mouth. And with that, you are more susceptible to cavities. So, this whole issue of keeping that bacteria levels right so you don't develop bone loss that's huge when you get to be 40 plus. And just keep in mind, you still are at risk of cavities.
Right.
Okay.
And what about the dry mouth? Because some of that is driven possibly, like you said, by the balances in your mouth not being correct. But also dry mouth can sometimes be driven hormonally, especially for women in midlife. What kinds of things can we do to prevent that, or to keep it from, try to at least keep it at bay?
Well, it can be difficult if you're on certain medications, and as we get older, and we're living longer, we might have a couple of issues going on. So we might be on a couple of different medications that cause dry mouth. But what you can do is if you notice that you're getting dry mouth, that's something to then check the medication and see if dry mouth is one of the side effects. If it is, there might be another medication that you could talk to your physician about. Trying to keep your mouth lubricated. Things you can also do are to protect your teeth. You can make your own toothpaste with adding a calcium powder. Some people use fluoride treatments, as let's say if they have dry mouth, to protect. But I kind of encourage people to go with more adding a calcium powder, coconut oil, this kind of thing, and make a paste and make your own rinse that's soothing. There's a lot of great oils and herbs, cinnamon. Something I tell people, if you like to drink coffee or tea, green tea actually, I always tell my patients, that's something that they can use, that it's not like you're not having to think about doing healthy. It's just, something people enjoy. But now recently, some of the dental health insurance companies have been sending out bulletins and now encouraging patients to use green tea as a mouthwash. But I tell, yeah, because there's a lot of studies are showing it's just as effective when a person has a gum infection or any other kind of tooth infection. The antioxidant, the catechins in it, and your antioxidant components. So green tea is something that you can sip on, you know.
Yes, you mentioned you were going to mention cinnamon also, because I put cinnamon in my coffee all the time.
Yes, I do too. I do too.
I put years.
Exactly. Yeah.
And why is cinnamon good for dental health?
Well, the same kind of thing. There's certain antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties like turmeric.
I put turmeric in my coffee too. Turmeric.
I do too. I do too. So these are things that I tell people, staying on the healthy side, people seem to think it means eat rice cakes and,
It's a tofu, right?
Yeah, right. That's what.
And no salt, right?
Yeah, right. No. You can have a nice, latte with some turmeric, put some ginger in there, put a little cinnamon in there.
I put ginger in it too.
I put ginger in there. Little, mix it up really good. It tastes good, and sip on that to keep the bacteria of your mouth. You're feeding it. It's just loving it. So you're finding any inflammation that might be coming on. So if you do have dry mouth and you have to take a certain medication, these will things that'll be protective for you.
Okay.
Now, stress is something that can bring on dry mouth.
Okay.
So, because everything is connected up, the stress and the hormones and sending the signals. So stress can bring about dry mouth. So relaxation things, and getting back to the 5 factors, looking at what do I have going on, before you delve into all kinds of medication changes, let's just look at what you have going on and what things can you add in, what things can you crowd out. And like you said, little by little, take little steps, little incremental steps. And this way you're seeing how your body is going to respond, and then you can make adjustments from there. But yes, I tell them, and another one that's good is the maca powder. I put that in my coffee.
Yes.
To make some smoothies.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the nutrition. It's about, they have done studies where they have, through some type of technology, where they can track as you eat, they actually show the change in the makeup of the teeth. So as the nutrients are being absorbed by the rest of your body, they're being absorbed into your teeth as well. All your tissues, but people seem to think teeth are just they're not living, and they're not changing. But they're changing as we speak right now. Mm-hmm. Your body is changing, and so your teeth and your mouth is changing too.
In terms of food, somebody told me something the other day, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to be talking with Dr.
Stukes."
I was going to say Stukes. It's Stukes. Okay, Stukes. Yes. I'm going to ask you about this. Cherries.
Cherries is on the list.
We'll eat cherries they can be an antioxidant, but they're also good for a natural inflammation reducer when it comes to arthritis. But then someone else said, yeah, but they're really bad for your teeth because they're so high in sugar. What's your opinion on that?
Well, there's that, whatever is that, I can't pronounce it right, but gives it the pigmentation. Things or something like that, they're called. Yes.
So. Yes, I see it, but I can't say it.
Yes, it's very healthy for your mouth. The thing is, everything in moderation.
Okay.
And as you were saying, each person is different. So you may not be able to tolerate. I love cherries, but you may not be able to. You may not be able to tolerate it. It might be it might be technically good for you, but that's the kind of thing that in moderation, I'm not going to say you're going to sit and eat. But if there's a great drink I make sometimes, it's cherry juice, blueberry juice, because blueberries are good for you, good for your, it's good for
Antioxidant.
you
I
too.
love blueberries,
With
yes.
a little mint and lemon. And
I
all
like
these,
everything. I have all that in my refrigerator. Okay.
yeah. So all these things, they're feeding your good bacteria.
Okay.
The other thing too with the mouth is you really want it to stay a little alkaline. You don't really want it to be too acidic. First of all, that bad bacteria likes that acidic type of environment. But also, when you were talking about digestion, the enzymes in your mouth that are going to start to break down the carbs, that's the first thing in your mouth, those enzymes aren't going to work properly if the mouth is too acidic. So the mouth has to be kind of neutral
So can
for.
you bring it back into balance from an alkaline perspective, like for instance, like by drinking cucumber water
Would
or
be very nice, or celery juice,
celery juice? Okay. Okay. Okay.
you know, this
Um,
kind of thing. Yeah. So, and if you eat healthy, you're staying away from sugary juices anyway.
mhm.
A lot of sweets. The thing they find about the sweets, and that was the thing, years ago, we only instructions we would give the patient would be brush, floss, and don't eat sugar. Don't eat any sweets, brush, and floss.
Right.
But there's just so much more to it because the body, your mouth is changing just like the rest of your body. So you've got to you want your hormones to be working properly. You want to have good sleep, just like the rest of your body needs. You want to have the right nutrients, just like the rest of your body needs. So to fuel your smile, I have to tell you, to look out for all these things. I can't just say brush, floss, and don't eat sweets, because if you've got a thyroid condition, or if you've got dry mouth, or you've got diabetes, or who knows what you might have going on, that's doing you a disservice for me to send you off and say, just don't eat sweets.
Right, because there's so many other things that are going on.
Absolutely, you've got to fuel your body.
Right, right. And I think that
So,
more and more people are being aware of the fact that in order to be healthy, it takes a continuum of the mind,
yes,
body,
it
and spirit,
does.
all those other things. They're becoming more aware, but getting a chance to hear an expert like you talk about it from a dental perspective
Mm-hmm.
is so much value add. And thank you so much for being with us on the
You're
Wellness.
welcome. You're
Now, do you
welcome.
have a site or something where someone can maybe find out more information?
Okay, so my website is based totally on the 5 factors and helping you to balance those 5 factors so you can have a beautiful smile.
Great.
So at whatever age you are.
Okay.
And if you have tooth loss, these types of things help you for losing more teeth. It helps you with people who have gotten implants or have invested in a lot of cosmetic dentistry, where you really want to invest in these, making sure you balance your 5 factors so that you have the life of your dental work is very long. So you don't want to invest in implants and all these types of things and end up with infections and lose teeth.
Right. So you
So
want
even
to make
from
sure
that
when
aspect.
you're doing something like that, you want to take a look at your lifestyle that took you up to that point so that you put
Absolutely.
more things in that you're
Mm-hmm.
not just going right back to having another issue.
Right.
Now,
Yeah,
what is
one more.
the website? What is your website URL?
So it's www.sevalife, which is SEVALIFE.net.
Savealife.net.
Save a life. Save us a Sanskrit word that means enhancing the lives of others.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And for all of you who are listening or who are actually on the show page, you will see Dr. Stukes' website along there, along with any of her social media that she's included.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who are listening, take a look at the page that you're on. It will give you a direct link going back to the show page so you can get that information later, so you can go ahead and take a look at that site. I looked at it. Lots of valuable information.
Yes.
And some things that I kind of knew, but it just kind of solidified in my mind.
Yes.
It's always good to find out when you are doing something right.
Yes, yes.
But it's also good to find out the other things that you can do to really help facilitate health, because I do know that it really does start at the mouth. You got to have that because it feeds into the brain and everything else.
Yes.
So important. And thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, all of you listeners out there. I have loved doing this series of Loving the Natural You. And please take time to listen to some of our other shows. I think we have about 12 shows in this series. Wonderful experts in the field of mind, body, spirit, wellness who have shared with you their expertise and their love for what they do. It's always so wonderful to get a chance to talk with people who are experts in what they do. They're an expert because they love it. You can feel that passion, and it really makes you want to try to do some of the things they're talking about. So I'm hoping that along your journey to wellness, that you're getting some tips, tools, and techniques that are going to help you to thrive in midlife, thrive in being well. And thank you so much for listening to The Wellness Journey, and we look forward to having you back. See you again next
All
time.
right, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have something to share, please comment below. For more Wellness Journey shows, be sure to click the subscribe button below and check out my Facebook group, Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond. Continue taking this journey with us as we explore ways to be well in our mind, body, and spirit while loving the natural you.